We're working to save babies together, and it's a bigger problem than you think. We're visiting with the March of Dimes board member coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're focused on the March of Dimes Ride for Babies, and we're visiting with its chairman, Lance Thompson. Good morning, Lance.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Incredible thing. Just a couple of months ago, I think leading up to the Sun Fun Festival, we were together at the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce, a place you've spent a heck of a lot of time over the years, serving as the general chairman of the 52nd Sun Fun Festival.
Absolutely.
And now to be back here thinking about focusing on your new role as chairman of the Ride for Babies. A big commitment, Lance.
It really is, but something that's a wonderful cause and something I really enjoy, and it means a lot to me and my family.
Lance, for viewers who may not have caught you when you were with us at the Chamber, are you originally from the area?
No, I'm not. I was born in Charlotte, kind of grew up in North Carolina, and moved to Myrtle Beach in 1985. Came to work with Ocean Lakes Family Campground and the Jackson Companies, and just very fortunate to land with a wonderful family and a family business, and have been able to survive and stick around that long.
That's amazing, Lance. You've been with the same group, the Jackson Companies, almost 2 decades
That's
now.
Correct.
That's
nuts.
Yeah.
I actually thought way back in 1985 I would come to the beach, work for a couple of years, and then go get a real job. But fortunately, this turned into a career opportunity for me, and I've really been fortunate.
And family is a key word here at a family campground. Do you have family with you here in the area, Lance?
Only my own family. My wife and I got married in 1989 here. She's from the Charlotte area as well, and we have 2 daughters. So this is home for us now, but both of our families still live in the Charlotte area, and most of the rest of the family in North Carolina.
Growing up in Charlotte, did you visit the beach much growing up, Lance? Or?
We did. We camped, actually. My dad was in textiles, so the week of the 4th of July when the textile mills closed down was vacation for us. And so we were always in Myrtle Beach at one of the campgrounds, and just was a wonderful opportunity and great experience, something I have really fond memories about. So it's kind of neat to have fallen into that industry as a career.
Absolutely. Had you ever grown up going to Ocean Lakes?
I had visited Ocean Lakes as well as some of the other campgrounds. Right. So it's, again, have very fond memories and just a wonderful industry to be in.
What's it like being the vice president and general manager of a family campground? I mean, many of the campgrounds on the Strand, I don't think the viewers either in the PD or southeastern North Carolina, or surely not here in Horry County, understand the impact that the campgrounds have on our community.
Well, they're very large campgrounds, all of the parks. We're kind of industry leaders across the country in the size of the parks that we have. And Ocean Lakes is the largest campground in Myrtle Beach. And it's a tremendous responsibility, but it's also a lot of fun. We have a tremendous team of employees, and just it's a great opportunity and a lot of fun. People are excited about being on vacation, being at the beach, and generally having a good time. So it's really a lot of fun to come to work every day.
What are some of the things you do as the general manager, Lance?
I kind of oversee all of the operations, but fortunately we've got departmental managers in all the areas, so I'm very fortunate to have very competent and capable people in all areas that work very hard and are very successful in their jobs. So I kind of oversee all of the operations, but getting down to the detail of the day-to-day operations in the different areas, I don't get involved in as much because I'm very fortunate to have people to do that for me.
Absolutely. We blessed a couple of months ago, not long after taping at the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce, to tape at our studio and had the founder of your company, he and his wife, although just Nelson Jackson, came in, which was such a treat. And the word he used, as you eloquently lay out, teammates constantly.
Right.
And I think we hear that in large corporations, international corporations, the use of that word, but it seems so clear and so overwhelming in his life, that aspect of a teammate.
It's certainly appropriate with our business because we do have a wonderful team, and top to bottom, it's great people to work with and work for, and everybody has the same common goal, and we're all working to make Ocean Lakes better, and people are excited about coming to work. It is a fun place to come, and people enjoy what they're doing, and that really is a huge benefit for us. That translates to great customer service over to our guests.
Lance, I think Ocean Lake's been recognized, obviously, a leader within the industry, but it's held that top rank among the nation's RV parks a number of times. What's the significance of that ranking, and how's it laid out each year?
Yeah, well, 3 out of the last 6 years, we've been fortunate enough to be named RV Park of the Year by the National Association of RV Parks and Campgrounds, and that basically says that during that year we were the top performing campground. And a lot of criteria are used in the judging, everything from financial performance and customer service and new and exciting opportunities and activities and events throughout the operation. So we're in the mega park category, which is the largest of the parks in the country. And so we've been very fortunate to have been named the RV Park of the Year, and something that our guests really appreciate as well.
You've got some real strong neighbors as well. I think one of your immediate neighbors, is it Lakewood?
Lakewood was named RV Park of the Year back several years ago as well.
Right.
So, yeah, as far as leading the industry, the Myrtle Beach area is very well represented, and we've been very fortunate with the 7 family campgrounds in Myrtle Beach that are wonderful parks, do a great job in their operations, and we are highly recognized within the industry, and very thankful for that.
Throughout this week at Myrtle Beach Golf Holiday, we've been focused on Myrtle Beach Golf Holiday itself, a cooperative arm that does a heck of a lot to grow the Myrtle Beach community.
Absolutely.
Did the 7 family campgrounds ever get together to do some cooperative marketing?
We sure do, Greg. We've been very fortunate that all 7 campgrounds work very well together. We do go out to travel shows, print some brochures promoting Myrtle Beach as a camping destination. And in the end, it really helps all of us because all parks are different. Although they're all large in relation to parks across the country, we are different sizes and have different opportunities. And we feel like if we can expose new campers to the Myrtle Beach community, then each one of the 7 is going to benefit by what the individual guest is looking for. So we work very well together.
Yes. Obviously, our focus on the March of Dimes and the Ride for Babies, but I want to ask you a couple more questions
Sure.
for viewers who may not be familiar with Ocean Lakes. Just what exactly does the Ocean Lakes Family Campground provide for campers?
Our name says Family Campground, but we're really much more than that. We're very large. We've got 3,500 total sites. 2,500 of those are what we call annual lease sites that have up to beach houses built on them. So we have some full-time residents. There are rental opportunities. Really what we would term as a very diverse vacation destination. So got a lot to offer for all ages, all members of the family, and just a really fun place to come and visit. We'd invite anybody to come by and see us.
Yeah, Lance, and how many campers would come? I mean, how many folks would be there at, like, let's say it's peak capacity?
Peak capacity, about 20,000 people inside our gates. So it's hard to believe, but bigger than any town I ever lived in growing up. But it's a lot of people that we get in our 312 acres of property. So extremely busy. A lot of folks around.
That is amazing, Lance. How's the season been? Successful this year?
Very successful, Greg. The camping industry in general nationwide has been on the upswing. RV sales are increasing as the economy improves, and we've just been very fortunate to have a tremendous season this year. And really over the past few years, we've seen very, very strong growth, and we're very thankful to be in the industry that we're in and be able to experience that success.
Yes, Lance, with just a week left in August, do you all have any special programs planned for winding down the summer?
We actually do. This weekend, as a matter of fact, the weekend before Labor Day every year is our Bluegrass Festival, and it's something that we started years ago to promote the time between school starting and the Labor Day holiday when a lot of our retired folks, senior citizens, come in. So for the past 5 years now, we've had bluegrass bands come in and exposes a different market segment to our operation. And this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we'll have bluegrass bands in. A lot of folks coming in specifically for the bluegrass music, and it's a wonderful event.
How exciting.
Yeah,
Lance.
it really is.
To think of things going on all the time. Well, of course, I was so excited to learn about Ocean Lakes when we were together at the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce and highlighting the 52nd Annual Sun Fun Festival. Then a month or so later to have Nelson Jackson in and talk about it. Of course, he was kind enough to bring an annual pass for Loretta, the producer of the show, and myself. And I'd never been within Ocean Lake, so that's why it was very important to ask you to highlight a couple of months ago what all's in there, and for a viewer who'd never been in there.
Right.
And I think you did an incredible job doing that. I've been excited to get in there since then.
Well, good.
Obviously, the big focus on the March of Dimes, and we think about all the activities, things you get involved in, Lance, so many activities you and your family volunteer with. But can you share with us why you think you and your family have been so actively supporting the March of Dimes?
Sure, Greg. We just feel like saving babies, promoting healthy babies is extremely important. And all of us, I think, in some aspect of our life have been impacted by either premature birth or birth defects or some sort of problem. So we're a good example of that. We have a daughter, a 7-year-old daughter, who has some problems. And so my wife and I have always had a special affinity for the March of Dimes and have done whatever we could to volunteer and work and help promote any of the activities and fundraising events that the organization has.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Would you mind sharing with the viewers a little bit about your daughter?
Oh, absolutely. Savannah's 7 years old, and she was born with Williams syndrome. And one of the symptoms of Williams syndrome is a heart defect. All Williams children have a heart defect. So we knew that Savannah was going to have open heart surgery at some point. We delayed it as long as possible. And in 1999, she was scheduled to have her open heart surgery to repair the aortic stenosis, which is a narrowing of her aortic artery. And unfortunately, she had a reaction to the anesthesia, went into cardiac arrest on the operating table, and her heart stopped, and they could not get it started back. So we were extremely shocked when the hospital representatives came to us and said, here's what's happened. They're going to go ahead and open her chest and try to do the surgery, but you need to understand chances are her heart won't start back after the surgery. Obviously, we were devastated, but they came back and said her heart has started back. We were able to do the surgery, repair her heart, and get the heart started back. And that's the good news. The bad news is she was without oxygen to her brain for about 23 minutes. So she experienced some brain damage and some impact on her that will be lifelong. But fortunately, she, through therapy and all of the treatment that she's had, is just about back to the point that she was developmentally before the surgery. She's just made an amazing recovery, and the neurologists have actually said, this really shouldn't be happening. A head injury from a fall, you could understand some regeneration, but from the oxygen deprivation, this really shouldn't be happening. But Savannah's a real trooper, and she's bounced back and has just gotten along tremendously. And she'll be going into second grade here in a week or so, and really has done well. So it's organizations like the March of Dimes and the Heart Association and the others that have really been supportive of us and our family, and Savannah and Chandler, her older sister, has been tremendous in helping us out with her. And so impacts like that really mean a lot, when it hits you personally. And we've, again, tried to do everything we can to try to help the March of Dimes, because they do a wonderful job with the research and funding and grants and everything that they do to support the families of these children.
Well, I know you've been so active both supporting the March of Dimes as well as the American Heart Association. Both of those tie in so well. But when we think about the March of Dimes and some of the activities they may have had back in '96, for instance, when Savannah was born, she was in '90. When you think about that, did they touch you directly back then, or?
Well, absolutely. My wife participated in the folic acid program and all of the things to try to make sure that we would have a healthy baby, and the groups there to help, and we certainly were aware of all the things that they did, even back before the problems that Savannah experienced. So, and we've always tried to support the walk and the other activities that the March of Dimes has for fundraising, and because, again, so much money goes back into trying to provide a good opportunity for healthy babies, and it is so important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And your first involvement with the March of Dimes, Lance, when did that come about?
Actually, as a volunteer for the Walk America years ago, and our company's always been a huge supporter of the March of Dimes, and we've always sent teammates to walk during the walk. And so as I became involved in the walk and then became kind of a committee member for the walk, and then kind of crossed over to the ride as we developed that program last year.
Mm-hmm. That's how you came on. Had you come on as a board member prior to taking on this role with the ride?
Actually, there had not been a local board in the Myrtle Beach area until last year, and so when the March of Dimes decided to develop a local board, and being a volunteer and committee member, I was asked to join that board and was more than happy to do that. So in doing that and continuing on supporting the walk and then agreeing to chair the ride, being a motorcycle enthusiast, I guess I was kind of a natural person to try to chair that committee and head up the biker event for raising money.
Lance, I've got to digress for a second. When we think of boards, I know you're active with the Heart Association, obviously with the March of Dimes, on the Chamber Board, past president of the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. How do you find that, and then have that role as vice president and general manager of Ocean Lakes? How do you have the time? How do you find the time? I know you've talked about incredible teammates and that ability at the family campground, but
that's a lot of it, Greg. Obviously, I have a company that supports me and my activities outside the company, and we feel like as an organization it is important for us to put back, not only myself but other team members that we have at Ocean Lakes and the Jackson companies, and they've been tremendously supportive. My family's been tremendously supportive and also active in participating with me in some of the things, not necessarily as a board member, but all the activities and events that they show up at and participate in. So it's a lot of support from a lot of people, and the rewards and enjoyment are just unbelievable. It makes it all worthwhile.
Absolutely, Lance. I'm always often blown away, but then when you remind me of Marjorie, and you remind us of those teammates in a very supportive company. And to have been with this company almost 20 years now, a heck of a lot's going on. The Jackson Company does so much. We think Dennis Wade is just stepping off as the president of Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce or chairman of the board.
Right.
The Jackson Company's been very active in the Chamber of Commerce.
Absolutely. Back to Mr. Jackson in the early years and his involvement with Ashby Ward. And, again, we feel like it's something that's good for the community and good for our company. And it's very important for a company our size to get involved and give back. And it really helps the entire Myrtle Beach area and the entire community and benefits us all long term.
Why do you think it's important for the community to support the March of Dimes? I mean, are these funds kept in the area, or are they obviously invested in research? How does it work exactly?
They are, Greg. About 92% of those funds go directly to the programs, events, research, funding. Very little of that would go into administrative cost and other costs. So it's a wonderful number for the March of Dimes that the money they put back in. And just seeing the examples of prematurity and birth defects and all the things that the organization does, it really does show the importance of participation at the individual level, at the company level, and at the community level.
I think I'd seen a statistic that each year 460,000 babies are born prematurely.
I think that's correct. And, it's mind-boggling when you think about the numbers and the potential impact for all of us as individuals. And it really hits home when it happens to you personally. And you understand the benefits of the March of Dimes and what a great job they do in all areas.
Lance, are you working on some fundraising events? Obviously, the focus on the Ride for Babies, but are there some other fundraising events within the March of Dimes coming up soon?
Yeah, in November, the Chef's Auction up at the Convention Center is a wonderful event. There are also a couple of walks that are in Marlboro County and Marion County coming up this fall as well. And then we're putting together the final details about the Ride for Babies, which is the second year this year. Last year was our first opportunity to get this event underway. And so we're putting the final details together, and later this fall we'll have our second annual Ride for Babies, which gets the biker community involved, and the motorcycle enthusiasts have always been wonderful about supporting charities and events like this. And we were fortunate enough to have about 400 bikes come out last year and participate, and hope this fall to have an increase over that and really have a good event. So.
Well, the other great aspect is it gets non-bikers involved. It gets you guys the opportunity to call on non-bikers and say, hey, you guys, you won't be out there riding,
right?
But will you support us?
Oh,
How
absolutely.
does that work exactly,
Well,
Lance?
individuals are encouraged to get support either on a per mile basis. The ride is about a 75-mile ride, and if people want to go out to neighbors and coworkers and friends and family and say, how about supporting me and do so much money, 10 cents a mile or whatever, and people have been very good to support, and knowing that what a wonderful job the March of Dimes does, they've been willing to support these individuals, friends or family, and help raise money for this wonderful cause.
Lance, tell us about last year's ride. Where did it kick off, and how did you all decide the 75-mile trek?
Yeah, we actually patterned our event after some other states who've had a Ride for Babies, and so we had kind of a blueprint, but we wanted to model it for the Myrtle Beach area, and I think we did a really good job with that. We kicked off at Myrtle Square Mall, where we could gather in the parking lot, plenty of space down there to stage the bikes. left there, went into Georgetown, came back up through Conway, had a water stop there at the courthouse, and ended up in North Myrtle Beach, where some acknowledgments and awards were given for fundraisers and sponsors and that kind of stuff, and then kind of a party afterwards, where people, good food and being able to socialize with other individuals with like interest, and the motorcycles kind of ties all that in together.
Definitely. Now, and you said this had been motivated by other states that had similar Ride for Babies.
Correct.
Had there been other organizations or other groups that had rides that you've been active with?
Yeah, and there's a lot of charitable organizations who do this, and it really gives people. I mentioned to somebody, you really have to kind of have a special affinity for a group to get out and walk 3 or 5 miles. You don't just get up on a Saturday morning and say, well, I'll go walk for this particular organization, unless you really have an affinity for it. Bikers are always looking for a reason to get out and ride, get with other bikers and get out and ride. And so this is an opportunity for us to say, let's support in this event the March of Dimes, but others. There's lots of rides that for charitable organizations, poker runs, and always raising money for a good cause. And bikers have been great about supporting causes for any reason.
And Lance, you said last year was Horry County's first one, or the local area March of Dimes. And this local area serves, as you said, the Marlboro Walk. I mean, this is a large. It really overlaps with our TV market.
It really does. The PD area is really what the March of Dimes is focused on, and we have events here. But again, there's walks all over in different parts of the PD, and the March of Dimes just does such a wonderful job in all the different areas. There's walks in the fall and the spring. There's events throughout the year, not only the chef's auction, but there's a real estate breakfast, and now this motorcycle ride. So it's a constant effort for the staff and the organization to continue fundraising, providing new and exciting ways for people to get involved with the March of Dimes.
Yes, Lance, you said last year's ride was the first one here, and did you say there were almost 400 bikers?
Almost 400 bikes that came out, and we were extremely pleased with that as a first event, and the weather ended up being really terrific, but leading up to the event, it looked like we may have a little rain problem. So there was probably some out-of-town folks that didn't come that would have in better weather. So we're hoping that with a good forecast this year, then we'll have an even better turnout and better event.
Do you have any idea of how many bikers you want to have for the second year?
I think if we have over 500, we'll consider that a huge success. And I think the potential's there for, again, to bring in folks, day riders from the PD area, from the Wilmington and Charleston, that would like to ride in, participate, and again, associate with people with like interest with other bikers. And so I think we're laying the groundwork now for a lot of success in the future to grow this event tremendously.
We've got about 3 or 4 minutes. Have you mapped out a route for this year's ride? Is it going to be the same as last year, or are you thinking about some diversions?
It'll probably be tentatively the same. We are going to try to throw in a little different twist and not do exactly what we did last year, but probably starting at the mall again, ending up somewhere on the north end, and having a map for people that, people ride at their own pace and obviously obeying all the traffic laws and all. And so we'll get all the final details together, and hopefully people will contact the March of Dimes and get that information and be willing to come out and participate.
And that's the 843-488-3463 number.
That is correct.
Okay, great. Well,
and they can get information about the ride as well as the chef's auction coming up and any other walks or events, the real estate breakfast. That March of Dimes number would have that information of all the events.
Fantastic. Will Marjorie be riding with you, Lance?
Well, she will if we get the girls taken care of. If we can get somebody to watch our daughters, then she will. She rides with me a lot, and our oldest daughter, Chandler, who's 12, rides some. So it may be an opportunity for her to ride and have Marjorie take Savannah and meet us at the end of the ride party and participate in that fashion.
What's that been like introducing both Marjorie and now Chandler to the motorcycle?
They both have been very supportive. I thought that initially both of them might just do it just because I was interested in it. But, both of them seem to genuinely enjoy riding. Chandler doesn't like the real long rides. Marjorie's done several cross-country trips with me, which is a big undertaking. But Chandler does like to get out locally and do the little short rides, and she's really enjoyed getting involved.
What's the thrill of being on a motorcycle, Lance? What's the excitement for viewers who may not have been on a bike, who've always yearned for it, or who've never yearned for it? Why do you do it? I mean, it seems very scary to me.
Well, I guess it can be, but I think for me it's being able to experience your environment. Your senses are kind of alive. You get to see and smell things around you that you wouldn't inside a car with the windows up and the air conditioning on. So it's to me a really being able to experience your surroundings and kind of become one with that, and a little bit of the freedom and being out there and being on two wheels.
Golly, Lance. I think about it, so many activities you're involved in. If you weren't currently the Vice President and General Manager of Ocean Lakes Family Campground, what do you think you'd be doing? Do you think you'd be volunteering or working with the March of Dimes, or working with the Heart Association, or so many other amazing groups you've been active with? What do you think you'd be doing?
Well, I certainly hope that I would have had the opportunity to be involved with the organizations as I am now, and have the support of a company. I would hope that I would be involved with a group and family as great as the Jackson family and the Jackson companies. I feel so blessed to have been able to hook up and stay on with the group. Such a great family. So if it wasn't with them, I would certainly hope it would be with some family business that would be as much like the one that I'm with now as possible.
Mm-hmm. And family just interrelates to your life so much, Lance. It's amazing when we think about celebrating family fun,
right?
The 52nd Annual Sun Fun Festival, and being so active, heading up the family campground and working with an amazing family like the Jackson family. When you think about families like that and inspirations in your life, has there been an inspiration in particular that's truly been there for you?
My family, as you mentioned, Greg, is truly the inspiration for me, and it does everything I do. From the family campground, we have kept family in our name for a particular purpose. We're not an RV resort or something else. We've kept family campground in our name specifically to denote the importance to us, and the family is so important, and that my family personally has been my inspiration in everything I do.
Inspired by his family and so many other families. The focus is saving babies together. And we're visiting with Lance Thompson. Lance, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Pleasure.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. We want to thank Lance Thompson and his amazing family for making today's Carolina People so special.